Pastor George Borghardt, and this is another Higher Things video short. Lectionaries and how to listen to the readings in church, that's the subject of today's Higher Things video short. Lectionary, from the Latin word lectio, which means reading, is a collection of readings for set days in the church year. The original lectionary was a one-year series. You can still find that in some of our Lutheran churches. Our daily reflections are based on the historic one-year series. You can spot them easily by Sundays that are Trinity Sundays, like the 21st Sunday after Trinity that we just celebrated at my church. In 1960, a three-year lectionary was developed by Rome, Ordo Lectionum Missae. I just said that because I wanted you to think that I was smart. Anyway, but the three-year lectionary was built around more readings and more gospel, like a Gospel of Matthew, A series, a Gospel of Mark, B series, and Luke and John in the C series. You can recognize, though, that lectionary in Lutheranism by Pentecost season that is extended, or by the term propers being used this week. Now, how do you hear the readings? Well, in the green seasons, you can always bank on one thing, that the Old Testament lesson will be connected to the gospel lesson. The gospel lesson is the reading for the day. But in the green seasons, and throughout the whole church year, the gospel lesson and the Old Testament lesson have a point of contact. And if you can find that point of contact, you can find the gospel of the day. This week's one-year series has the creation account connected to John 4 with the healing of the official's son from a distance. Jesus says to the man, "Your son lives, whose son is sick." And the man goes, and as he leaves Jesus, believing Jesus' words, the servants come up to him and say, "Hey, your son's getting better." And he's like, "Well, when did that happen?" "Seventh hour?" "Well, that's the same time that Jesus said that my son shall live." And then he and his whole household are saved. Well, what's the connection? Well, the connection this week is with the Lord's words. His words deliver the goods. His words deliver his law and his gospel. His words are a changing reality. They kill and make alive. They kill us with his law. They crucify our sinful flesh. And he enlivens us with his gospel. You shall live. And that gospel delivers the suffering and death of Jesus. And faith, which is born of the word, grasps hold of the word of God, preached in the water and in the bread and the wine. So if you find that connection between the Old Testament and the New Testament, that Old Testament connection with the Gospels, and then you found the connection for the week, you'll probably find the Gospel. Now, in the non-green days, three readings might be related. In the festival seasons of the church, which is the first half of the church, those three readings are going to be related. In the green season, the part of the church which is about the part of the lectionary which is about the life of the church, that Old Testament and that gospel are going to be related. Now, why have set days? Because we're this free. You don't want your pastor sort of picking willy-nilly, whatever readings he wants. There's something Catholic, universal, about following set readings on set days. It keeps us out of it. You can never look at your pastor and say, I know you picked that reading because you were saying something against me. Now, this reading's been picked either since 1960 or been revised with LSB, or it's been sort of a historic lectionary that has always been this way for as long as we can remember. Either way, we're free enough to use set readings in church to sort of add structure and to give us a little life, to add a pattern to our lives. And we have we have a sort of set calendar too. Thanksgiving, October 31st is Halloween, Christmas, sort of Valentine's Day, Super Bowl. We have set days, And it's good to sort of set your faith around the church's days. Take hold of a lectionary. Look at it. Follow it through the year. The new lectionary, the lectionary resets in Advent. A great time to take a look at it. You'll find in the Lord's words and in his promises life. I'm Pastor George Borghardt. This has been another Higher Things video short.